Good morning. It is 10 o'clock on this lovely Tuesday. We appreciate all of you coming to join us this morning. We know that the end of the school year is a little bit hectic, so we appreciate you taking some time out to just come and talk parent and family engagement with us. Let's go ahead and get started. So, I am Leslie Blows from the Office of Federal and State Accountability. I am the Title I Parent and Family Engagement Coordinator for the state. And I am joined today by,
Good morning. I'm Cheryl Fitz. I'm from the Office of Special Education Services. So glad to have you with us today.
and then our other um, partner in crime is Kim Priester. She's from the Office of School Choice and Family Engagement, and she had another engagement. She's also over military, and it's the big month of the military child. So she had another engagement this morning. Kim came on board with us when Regina Thurman so gratefully retired back in January, and we're so excited for her. And but the work continues. So our agenda for today is we're going to first just touch base about the South Carolina Family Engagement K through 12 framework. Today we're going to talk about collaborative practices, and I'm going to dig a little bit deeper for you about that. We are joined by the lovely Missy Martin from Lexington School District 1. She's going to talk about um, ways to support your school level parent liaisons. Then we'll go into some breakout rooms and have a little discussion amongst ourselves. And then we'll wrap up with some resources and some announcements, and we'll get you guys back on your way. So, this is the where we always start is with our South Carolina Family Engagement K through 12 framework. Strategies for success is a big part of it. So we have building relationships, communication, linking families to learning outcomes, collaborative practices, and community partnerships. Today, I wanted to talk about collaborative practices, and in the framework, we talk about how you can use parents as collaborators in their child's journey of education. But today, I wanted to talk about how important it is that your entire district is collaborating with this goal in mind, and that you're all having the same common goal, same language, and same expectations from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, even pre-K. So from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. And so we are excited that Missy's going to share some of the ways that they do that in Lexington 1. All right,
Yes, and
Cheryl.
we are very pleased to have Missy with us today. She was actually with us previously where she shared some great information. And I do remember the breakout rooms and the conversations that resulted from that time that she was with us. Just to give you a little brief backdrop on Missy, she began her role of Family Engagement Specialist at Lexington School District 1 in 2015, where she still works to support best practices around family engagement in Title I schools, as well as provide support to the district's preschool program. So really, really glad to have Missy with us today, and I'm sure she will share some additional things about herself as she gets started. Missy?
Well, good morning. Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about some of our work today. Um, Although I am the family engagement specialist for Lexington One, I feel like I am speaking for our amazing team of family liaisons that facilitate the just amazing work that they do to engage and partner with families every single day. And so I'll just start by giving you a little bit of information about our approach and just kind of what that looks like in Lexington One. So we have 14 Title I schools, and each of our family liaisons serve two schools. So that's another reason why they are so amazing is because each week they do balance their time between two schools. And this is really so that we can ensure that every Title I school does have that family engagement, that real intentional family engagement component, where family engagement, or family liaison, excuse me, are really doing that work. And so I just wanted to give you a little bit of background so that when we talk about, the family engagement work that we do in Lexington I, it really is focused in our Title I schools, because of course that's where we have the additional funding to, really provide that supplemental piece. And we know with Title I, it is a requirement. So the framework that Leslie mentioned earlier, we do lean heavily on that framework to ensure that our activities and all of our family engagement opportunities are really aligned to that. So in Lexington I, we believe that student success is rooted in strong partnerships with families. Of course, that's why we're here. That's why we do the work that we do. We know that when schools intentionally engage families by building relationships and sharing meaningful information and creating really authentic opportunities to connect, we know that that really helps to lay a powerful foundation for student growth and achievement. I think about if you've ever been to any sessions with Dr. Tammy Pulowski from the Francis Marion Center of Excellence, you've probably heard her talk about putting a ring on it in the sense of engagement. And we really believe that too in Lexington I. Our efforts go well beyond just that involvement piece, just involving families, because we know that there's a difference in the meaning of the word engagement. Right? So when we think about that word, it really speaks to an ongoing commitment and a sense of partnership where there are shared goals. Whereas involvement really doesn't have that, that emphasis or that important meaning. We also think about family engagement in another way. So another analogy that we use is from the work of Dr. Karen Mapp. And she uses the analogy of baking a cake. And in our case, it would be an academic cake. So first we have to look at all the ingredients, and usually flour is the one that has the most volume, right? So we're using maybe a cup, 2 cups or so. And we think of this as our staff or our personnel, which is typically the highest portion of the resources in terms of what we spend our funding on. But when you look at a cake recipe, there's also a main ingredient that if you leave out, you have, you're not going to get the kind of cake that you expect, right? It's going to kind of fail, so to speak. And that is the baking powder. So even though you may only use like half a teaspoon or a teaspoon or so, without it, the cake just doesn't rise to our expectation. It typically falls a little flat. And your family engagement is really the baking powder of your student achievement. It seems like a small thing, but it can be overlooked very easily if we're not intentional about it. And it really makes a huge difference if you don't have it. So similarly, if you don't have your family engagement and your recipe of student achievement, then students aren't going to rise to the level that we expect. And this is why it is essential that our efforts are intentional, meaningful, and connected to student learning and well-being, of course. And that goes back again, thinking about that framework is that connection to student learning. And so, as I mentioned, we have a team of family liaisons that facilitate this amazing family engagement work in their 2 schools. At the district level, we plan and design ongoing professional learning opportunities that really help build their capacity. So we want to think about, they're coming to us with unique skills and things that they really bring to our team. And so we just pour into them and help build their capacity through many opportunities such as professional learning. We meet monthly. They're full day meetings, and they include time for planning and collaboration. We know that is essential, right? We all need connections, but they're the only ones in their school that are leading and driving this family engagement work. Whereas teachers, kind of have each other to bounce ideas and practices. They're physically in the building together. Liaisons are the only one in their school really leading and driving this work. even though we think of it, as we all do family engagement work, again, they're really kind of leading the charge with that. So, it's really important to us that we pour into them. And so in addition to our monthly meetings, we also provide opportunities for book studies. So a lot of our work with that has been around the work of Dr. Steve Constantino and his 5 simple principles. We also focus on leadership because, again, they're kind of driving the train, so to speak. One year we did a study on the book Lead from Where You Are by Joe Sanfilippo. And that was really impactful as it really helped to identify and develop leadership skills in them. And some of them didn't even recognize that they already had those. It was just really kind of helping to pull those out and really sort of perfect those. Again, because they're leading this work, and really we needed a way to help them to feel like leaders and really really help fill their cup in that way. We're also members of NAFSCE and other family engagement networks that provide webinars and information on like the latest research to really help us stay up with best practice and what's happening across the nation. Like we hear a lot among our district, among our state leaders, things like that. But it's also good to connect with what's happening in other places in other states and things that people are having success with, and gives us ideas of things to try to think outside of the box, so to speak. At the district level, we also provide regular one-on-one school visits. And so in addition to the collaboration and partner work that we do, liaisons receive that personal support and encouragement in their own schools. And it helps with the family engagement plans that they develop, which I'll talk a little bit more in another slide. But just like our Title I school plans, they have family engagement plans through all of the professional development that we provide at the district level. Then that translates into a school plan that they develop themselves. And like I said, we'll look at some examples of what that looks like and how that works. So again, through the professional development and all the supports that we provide, liaisons design school-based family engagement plans. Now, these align with both their school goals and the unique needs of their students and families. So we know that if we look at our Title I plans, they look a little different depending on the needs of the school, of the students, what the data's telling us, and that's the same with our family engagement plans. And then they look at those goals, but then they also look at feedback from families, what families have said that they would like to know about or learn about. And they take all of that and combine those, all of those needs and all of the things that they see and create a family engagement plan. And then they create activities and make those plans actionable. And again, you'll see some examples in some later slides. But one thing that's really important to note here is that while the liaisons are leading this important work, it is truly a collaborative effort. And so we feel that family engagement is a shared responsibility. So everyone in the building has a responsibility and a role in creating connections with families every day, whether that is speaking to a family walking down a hall, asking them, how their day is going, giving them a smile. Sometimes it's just that welcoming approach, that making sure that we are engaging on some level every day with families. And it's really about being intentional. So it's about our everyday opportunities that we have, whether it is in the car line, connecting with a family, whether it's, a family coming in late, maybe again, and, being able to connect with them and have a conversation to build a relationship. We know that we really can't do a whole lot of work with families unless we have that relationship, unless they feel that connection and know that we have that common goal of ensuring that their child is safe and cared for, and making sure that again, that they feel that they have a place to go. And liaisons a lot of times, have these important conversations, which help us to learn about other needs that the family may have, not just academic needs, but other needs that we can help with. Okay, sorry, here we go. And so I mentioned that, it is an everyday approach. So we don't think about, our success in how we engage families as, how many people came to an event, how many people showed up. It's more than a number, and it's more than just an event. So we think about, impacting those families, like I mentioned. If it's a family coming in and they have, needs that go beyond, math night, or, something that we're planning, in order for that child to be successful, those needs have to be met first. And so, sometimes it is thinking about our success and our, measuring success in a different way than we typically have done. It's nice when we have an event and a lot of people show up, right? But sometimes it's not really the families that we really need to connect with. And so we have to think about opportunities to connect with all families. So yes, we have events, and yes, they are, most of the time very well attended. But we also want to think about access for all families. So how can families access the information that we shared at an event? Maybe because they're not able to come to the school. Maybe there are barriers. Maybe they work at the time where we're having the event. There are all kinds of reasons. But again, it's thinking about an everyday approach and a way to connect with all families. And so, doing things like having connections in the classroom. So really capitalizing on opportunities, things that are already happening in the school day. So we know that let's say that a teacher's doing a unit celebration, why not bring families into that, right? Why not bring families into that where they can, see all of the pieces that go into that and celebrate the learning that has just happened. During that time, why not connect families with the next unit that's already coming up, so that they're able to support their child through that next unit and know some of the strategies that they could use at home. Maybe even provide some resources that could go home with a parent to help them with that. We also just started something very recently that we learned from a conference that we attended, and it's called a learning snapshot. This is very, very new for us. But again, it's taking something that is already happening. So the teaching is already happening in the classroom. The liaison goes in, connects with the teacher, learns about that unit or that lesson, and then connects with each individual student to create a personalized, what we call learning snapshot. There's a lot more that goes into that. And for today's purpose, I could probably do, a whole session on that for you. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, but it's a way that we can take a family engagement approach, something, again, that's already happening. It's low lift, right? So the liaison is able to make a connection with the teacher to learn about the learning that's happening, get to know the students, and then create a very personalized snapshot, as we call it, that goes home to the family. And so it's a way that families can connect to the learning that's happening and not even walk into the building. And so it does create, access for all families. And then making sure that that is in a language where, the families request as well. So again, very intentional, very connected to learning, and ensure that, families are part of the process. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what does this look like? We described a little bit about our approach and how we at the district level support liaisons and how we pour into them to build their capacity, how they design very personalized family engagement plans that look similar if we were to put them all together, but are very unique to their school and family needs. And so we wanted to show you, just give you a little bit of insight on, what that could look like. So these are a few things. We, of course, in the time that we have today, couldn't capture everything, but we wanted to give you a little peek into what that could look like, kind of by classroom, by school, and then if you have school communities, what that could look like. So we took a little example from each of those. All right, and so the first one that we have is called the Poetry Pop-Up. And I want to give recognition to one of our family liaisons, Ketsi Marizalde. This is at Southlake Elementary, which is our newest Title I school. And so Poetry Pop-Up is a celebration of the second grade's poetry unit. And so I mentioned earlier about classroom celebrations, and so this is kind of what that looks like. And they're events designed to recognize students' achievement at the end of a particular unit. And so we believe that instead of just moving on through a unit, it's important to pause and celebrate students' growth and learning in a fun and engaging way. And that includes families in that celebration. And so during this poetry pop-up, students share their poems and reflect on their learning from the unit. And this opportunity to celebrate together was really appreciated by families. They got a lot of feedback about, how they really appreciated being a part of that. And then teachers really enjoyed being able to connect with families as well. And then, like I mentioned before, it gives us the opportunity to let families know about the next upcoming unit and how they can support their student. So it really creates an ongoing engagement opportunity, and families really feel that sense of partnership and shared responsibility in their students' learning. And you can see that it's something that was already going to happen anyway. We just created the opportunity for families to come alongside and be a part of the learning and celebrating the learning. Okay, and then the next one is what we call Wildcat Workshop. And so I want to give recognition to Marie Lewis, who just recently retired. This is Lexington Elementary, and Marie really spearheaded the Wildcat Workshop. And so it's really a hands-on interactive event, as you can see, where families learn side by side with their children. It's really designed to strengthen the academic support at home and really empower families with tools and resources that they can use right away. So families were welcome into the school and then provided an activity passport. So that activity passport really highlighted all of the learning opportunities for that activity or that event. Which included various grade level math and reading activities. And so families had choice in the activities that they wanted to go to and participate for that night. And then there were also presentations from counselors and other specialists so that, if families wanted to have, a conversation or just personally connect in that way, we provided that opportunity for them. And really, these sessions really aim to demonstrate classroom learning and provide resources for home support. So again, you can see all of the materials here that are on the table that the families are working with. Those are materials that not only did they use that night, but then were able to also take home to reinforce that learning. So if it was a game, that reinforced a math strategy, then they were able to, to take that home and continue that support. And then we also provided things like backpacks and other resources that families might need, mid-year to help them be successful in school. So it really was a very well-rounded activity, not just a one and done, right? We think about this as ongoing, continued learning opportunities. And that's a little bit about a school approach. This one is really, if you have community schools like we do in the Pelion area, we have 2 elementary schools, Pelion and Forts Pond. And then we also have Pelion Middle and Pelion High School. And so one of the things that that they do is, well, that's the next slide. I'm so sorry. That's Pelion Area Showcase. Let me back up. This is Reading Prize Patrol. And let me give recognition to Casey Pageant at Pelion and Forts Pond Elementary for organizing this. There's a lot of work that goes into this. And to celebrate and encourage reading at home, which is one of their school goals, staff members visit neighborhoods and surprise families who are caught reading together. So families sign up for this. It's totally voluntary. If you think about we took a little bit of inspiration from the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol concept. And the surprise reading visits really offer a creative way to connect school and families together. So unlike traditional home visits, which can sometimes feel like really formal or intimidating, these visits bring the excitement of a prize. And of course, the prize is literacy. So kids get to pick a new book. And it really frames the home visit as a celebration of reading and creates a really positive and memorable experience for everyone. Families tell us that this is their favorite thing. They look forward to it all year. And again, this approach really, think about, again, that word intention, being intentional. It really allows teachers and staff to connect with families. And, it's on their terms, right? We're going to their home. And it really helps us to, again, build that relationship with the family. Everything is very positive and focused on not academics. Yes, it's a reading focus, but the conversations that take place are about the relationship building. Okay, and this is the one, I jumped ahead a little bit. This is the one to think about if you have community schools, like I mentioned before, with our 2 elementary, middle, and high in the Pelion area. And so together, these schools make up a unique community where it's really common for families to have students in the elementary, middle, and high all at once. And to support these families, this type of event offers a lot of, I think of it as kind of a one-stop shop for families. So they can learn about the graduate profile. We say that in Lexington One, families don't always know, what does that mean? What does that mean for my student? They meet, the counselors have a table set up there. If they need to connect with them in that way. We have an academic focus as well, but it's almost like carnival style games. So students sometimes lead those, teachers and students together. And so families come alongside with the student, play the games. They learn, again, different strategies, and then they have resources to take home to continue that learning. We bring the community there, have tables set up. So you can see in this picture, we have adult education. So it's a place where, a lot of our families don't even realize we offer that in our district. We offer English classes. That's something a lot of times families don't know about. So we try to, bring all of the resources in one area for families for all grade levels. There's tech support for Parent Square. We give out free books for building home libraries. There are performances going on, right? So when you think about when you have all these events in the spring and performances going on, why not make it an event where you have all of these things together, including the performances. So I mentioned earlier, one approach that we use is like an activities passport, so families can see what's being offered when, and so families have choice in the activities that they want to participate in, because it's really about their needs, and again, providing sort of a one-stop shop with a comprehensive range of resources and information for them. So again, just kind of a quick visual to give you an idea of what that could look like. You'll see in the center of the picture here, we have some banners. All of our Title I schools have a banner. The liaison helps to design that so that it's a reminder. We move them, around the school depending on what's going on. So they could be in the front office, could be in the car line, so that families can see what's happening or what supports are available for them. And know that, we have someone to support their needs, whatever that might be. And so those are just an example of the Pelion area school banners. But again, all of our Title I schools have those available so that families know those supports are there. And I think those are all of the examples I had for you today. This is my contact information. And I know that was a kind of a quick, I guess, run through of our approach, how we sort of have our framework in Lexington One to support families, and how our liaisons do this work every single day, how we support them. And I just thank all of you for what you do in your districts every day. If I can ever be a help to you or provide any other information, I'm happy to do so. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Missy, for just sharing the way that you are very intentional out in Lexington One, that parent and family engagement is definitely a top priority. It's, you have an everyday approach to it. And I love how when you shared things that were happening at the schools that you kept saying we, which really shows us that it's a team effort within your district, that you're really there to support the work that's being done at all levels to build capacity and to build relationships with families. We love that. Does anyone have any questions for Missy?
There is actually one question in the chat. They would like to hear more about the learning snapshot. It sounds like a great strategy for linking families to learning.
Absolutely. Not sure specifically what questions you might have, but I would be happy to connect with you if you want to call or email me. I am more than happy. It's really pretty in depth. So I don't know for the sake of our time together today, but I would really love to share more details. It's been a learning experience from us. We did, as I mentioned, get the idea from attending a national conference, and we brought it back and we really made it our own. And so, yes, Karen, I see your comment in the chat. Yes, please. I would love for you to connect and we can chat more about that. So I'd love to share. Thank you for the question.
All that I heard is that means I need to tap into you to present at SCATA in October. So
happy to do that too, Leslie. Thank you.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to jump into some breakout rooms. I'm going to send you into a room with a group of people. You are welcome to turn your cameras on. You're going to unmute yourself, and you're going to have some great conversations around what we've heard from Missy. So here are the questions that I would love for you to focus on while you're in the breakout room. Now, you might want to take a little picture with your phones of the questions. I am going to push them out as an announcement, but just in case, you have them ready to go. All right, so the first question that we would love for you to talk about is how can what we heard or learned today assist our efforts in supporting our schools and parent liaisons? And then the second question is what are some amazing things that your schools or parent liaisons are doing that you want to share? And I also want you to think about like we're at the point in the year where we're wrapping things up, but we all know that that doesn't mean that the school year is done and that we're not moving forward to the next school year because this is planning time, right? We're thinking about where we need to head next year. What are our goals? What are our needs of our schools, especially with parent and family engagement? So, I want you to think about, what's something that you maybe heard today that is something that you want to dig deeper in and maybe implement as well. So those are our questions. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to send you all into some breakout rooms. Welcome back. I hope that you all had some amazing conversations within your breakout room. I got a chance to hop into breakout room number 1. So I would love to hear something that was shared out from each breakout room. So if I have somebody from breakout room 1 that would love to share something, that would be amazing. Come on, Emily, I see you want to unmute yourself.
I was trying to remember, was that the room 1 that I was in? And I'm in Richland too, and we have some big handfuls of Title I schools, but the bulk of our Title I programming is in our elementary schools. And we have parent educators in our Title I elementary schools. We have full-time parent educators in schools that have 75% PIP and above. Anybody that's below that falls within our threshold of service, those we split our parent educators across two schools at most. And so we working really hard together, myself and their supervisor, the director of child development, in helping our parent educators really feel like they belong and they have a place within their buildings. We have had a lot of new principals in our buildings as well. And so just trying to cultivate the school culture and the belongingness and the relationship building piece. So all that being said, we're working closely with our Title I principals in identifying some may-dos and must-dos for our parent educators moving forward. So they completed a Google form after spring break recently, and we are combing through that feedback in order to build some systems, if you will, for our parent educators and really building up the parent and family engagement plan, as well as, and Dr. Utter was mentioning this briefly in our room, as well as the Title I school parent compact. So it sounds kind of like we're starting small, but we're actually trying to build off of what is at minimum for compliance and then using that to help connect to our district values, our district goals and visions, and supporting our principals as well.
Thank you, Emily. So Cheryl hopped into room number 2. Do we have somebody from room number 2 that would love to share with us?
There were some good ideas going on in room number 2. They were sharing about some of the great things that they're doing within their districts, which I thought was very interesting. So I'm hoping that someone would share.
I'll share. This is LaTorsha Murray from Richland County School District 2. So I'll speak on the question number 1. One of the things that I heard that I feel would be beneficial is for us to extend those classroom activities to our parents. What Missy talked about with projects and things of that nature. So that's one of the things that, I've heard that some of our specialists have done those kinds of things, but I don't know if it's as widespread as it could be. So that is another way that we can garner more engagement with our families if they come in to see their children present their classroom projects. So extending those classroom activities to parents.
I love that. I have always loved how Missy brings in how they do in Lexington One to bring in the parents for the learning, like side by side learning, as well as just involving them in the classroom so much. So I love that, LaTorsha. All right, and then Missy was in breakout room number 3. Do I have anybody that would love to share from breakout room number 3?
Good morning. I'm Lauren Brooks Sumter, Parent Engagement Specialist in Richland One. And I work under the leadership of Miss Murray. And I totally agree. I was in the room with Missy, and I strongly encourage her to be able to present the snapshot, because it does sound like an excellent idea to have a grade level interactions for our parents, and not necessarily a whole group where we're, expecting the school to come, but being able to make that home and school connection with our families so that they can see the great works that are going on in our schools. So thank you so much, Miss Missy. I greatly appreciate that.
Awesome. I appreciate you all sharing with us a little bit about what you heard and what you have going on. So I hope that you were able to make some connections with some people, because honestly, we're all doing the work. So it's awesome that you guys can learn from each other and network with each other. So, all right. So we're going to wrap things up, share a couple resources and some announcements with you all. All right, Cheryl, take it away.
Thank you. Yeah, today was really it was really thought-provoking, and I truly appreciate what Missy shared. And one of the things, I mean, as she was talking, I was like, oh, yes, 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 that's exactly what I was going to talk about. Because when we're communicating with our families, we know it's key to make connections, which is number one, and to be intentional about those connections. While in the Office of Special Education Services, I'm thinking about how to be intentional to connect with families of children with disabilities, or how to connect with families who themselves have a disability. I know oftentimes it just, you may just be unsure. You may feel uncomfortable. You don't want to offend anyone. But I think the thing that Missy was sharing about, just looking at people, giving them a smile, saying hello on a regular basis, just making that connection, seeing them as a person first, and not necessarily a person with a disability, to see the person first, that will help you make that connection. When you are connecting with families of children with disabilities or who have disabilities themselves, I also suggest that you be very clear. Be clear about what you're saying, be clear about what you know, and share that. I I would also recommend that you avoid skirting around an issue because you're not quite sure how they're going to receive it, but to be respectful in what you say and just kind of avoid the fluff, because oftentimes parents of children with disabilities really just need you to get down to the basics, the bare facts, so they can understand what you're saying. They can decipher what you're saying. As a parent of a child with a disability, there's a plethora of things going on, around you. Yes, you want your child to learn academically, but there may be challenges to that academic learning. There may be challenges to their physical abilities. So if you can make it clear, to the point, and respectful, that will definitely help you in when communicating. Then listening. Be ready to listen. Don't necessarily listen for an hour, which has happened to me several times, but be ready to listen, and to listening and affirming their situation, and just taking that time. That shows that you respect them, you respect their situation, and that also goes a long way. I would also say watch for assumptions. Um, there are times when we all need a little cultural humility, to our work. So don't assume that they're not interested, or they're not able, or this is just beyond them. I think don't make that assumption. Um, and so that's, like I said, that's something that we do ourselves oftentimes. Honor their limits, because as I said before, they have a lot going on, doctor's appointments, things at home. You may have one child with a disability and another without. You may have multiple children with disabilities. So there are a lot of responsibilities placed on these families. And so just honor their limits and respect their boundaries, but still make the offer. Just the fact that you made the offer would make a big impact on them. And the last thing I want to say is open doors. Make it easy for families to get involved. So when you are planning events, etc., think about accommodations. Think about the exits, the entrance. Think about seating arrangements. Think about audio. Where are your visuals? Are you creating an environment where they can actually access it? So that's huge as well. And also, when you want to open a door, when you want more families with disabilities to get involved, think about the contacts right there. Special ed teacher is a great contact for some recommendations or to help connect you with families. Parent teacher organizations, community organizations, all those things can help to open doors so that when you are creating events, you're indeed creating events that will involve everybody. I want to recommend this communication tip sheet, which was developed by Carolina Family Engagement Center in conjunction with Family Connection South Carolina. As you may know, CFEC, or Carolina Family Engagement Center, CFEC, they aim to support student success in education statewide, and they're there to help all families actively engage in their child's learning. And so they also work to help develop family, school, community partnerships. So CFEC is a great resource for you as well. So let's talk a little bit about the Military Child. It is Military Child Month. So these are two great resources that offer a lot of information. So the South Carolina Department of Ed and the Military Child Education Coalition understands the significant impact of military life on military-connected students. So it's important to serve the students whose families serve for us, of course. And this particular resource, this particular organization provides a plethora of resources and supports for military students and families. Such resources provide as providing training, counseling support for families, guidance for students and families. They also have education liaisons. So, and they have exceptional needs liaisons for families with children with special needs. Well, they don't, but that information is there. So another source is Military OneSource. This is via the Department of Defense, and it provides a wealth of services as well. It is the gateway to services, supports, programs for the everyday needs of our military-connected families. And the links of these wonderful resources are hyperlinked here in the presentation, which you will get a copy of. And so when you're thinking of ways to collaborate, it's always helpful to connect with your military school or community liaison to further family participation for military families.
Perfect. One thing that I have heard Cheryl say over and over again is about using the resources that you have right there. And, Emily Caskey talked about this as well, that that we need to make sure that our parent liaisons / parent educators feel like they are part of the work. And that's the same thing with these other, resources that Cheryl talked about, your special ed teachers, the community resources that you have, as well as your liaisons if you're a school that serves your military children. So, Missy said over and over again, we, and truly it is the work of we. All right. So I'm Title I. So of course I'm going to share some Title I resources with you. If you are a Title I school, everyone's a Title I district, but if you are a Title I school, or you are working directly with Title I with parent family engagement, they did come out with some new guidance. I put together a presentation kind of unpacking the guidance for you all. It was presented in March at ESSA Academy. If you were unable to attend that session, I do highly recommend that you peruse this. It's a question and answer document. About some things that they're really hitting heavy with parent and family engagement, as well as just things that they're wanting to make sure that you understand our needs as well as expectations. So also, my presentation is online, so you can totally send me an email and I can make sure that you have that to go through, and I'm always available to chat through things as well.
So the next thing we'll talk about, I'm looking at Leslie, she's looking at me, is the parent community engagement listserv. So if you have not subscribed, please do so, and or share this information. Let people know that we're out here, and also let us know if you have things you think would be good for other parent liaisons or other family-facing personnel and staff to know about. So that is the QR code. Feel free to scan that so you can subscribe and or share the link with others.
Absolutely. And you can also just contact us and we'll be glad to get you in on the listserv as well. It is our key way of communicating with you all. So please share it with people that need to be included. And there was something else I was going to say, but I'll think about it in a minute.
It'll come to you.
Yeah, sorry.
So save the dates, guys. This is our last roundtable for this school year. However, we have decided to go back to our quarterly sessions, and they will be on Wednesdays from 11 to 12. So it will be 1 hour sessions as opposed to the hour 15 minutes or hour and a half that we have been doing in the past. And we're hoping that this time will work for most of you. And we're giving you these dates early on so you can put them on your calendars. We will meet in September. Again, it will be virtual. So virtual Wednesdays is what we're calling it. September 10th, December 3rd, February 11th, and April 15th.
Yeah, we try to work around all the things. So hopefully that's, yeah, yes, LaTorsha, hopefully these dates are great for you. But yes, these are for the, yep, it's for the district roundtables. The school roundtables were shared out at our meeting last Thursday, but we will gladly share out both of those sets because there's great information that comes out. And you get those invitations for both of these through the listserv. So it may be something that, we have a topic that's being presented at the school level that you find beneficial and vice versa. The other thing that I was going to say was that we're always looking for just out of the box exemplar things that are going on in districts. And so if you've got something that's amazing going on or that is a well-oiled machine with parent and family engagement, we would love for you to contact us and share that with us so that we can even come out and be a part of that or get to observe it so that we can share out those amazing things. So this is us. This is our contact information. We are always available to help out and to put you in contact with other resources and just to have some conversations around parent and family engagement. So we truly do appreciate your time and everything that you do to help families in your district. We look forward to seeing you in the fall. So we will see you September 10th. That's your Wednesday from 11 to 12. And that is it. We're going to give you a little bit of your time back. We appreciate you joining us today.